Judicial independence? Yes. Is widely considered to be a foundation for the rule of law. And the Council of Europe in 1998, yeah. United Nations in 1985, and establishing judicial independence in developing and transition economies, yeah, has become a major goal of donor-supported legal and judicial reform programs. Now, judicial independence, the defining of it, yes, is the independence of the judiciary can be defined in many ways. Yeah. Some scholars have produced long lists of criteria the judiciary must meet. Others focus on more narrow aspects of judicial instructions. Yep. Landis and Posner, 1975, Sheetreat, 1985, Larkins, 1996. But most agree that a truly independent judiciary has three characteristics. First, it is impartial. Yeah. Mhm. The impartial independence of judiciary. Yeah. Judicial decisions are not influenced by the judge's personal, yeah, interest in the outcome of the case. Some analysts incorporate into impartiality the idea that judges are not selected primarily because of their political views, but they are selected because of being impartial judges. Yeah. Now, there's a few families that have been using their influence, yes, to obstruct the actual independence of the judiciary. Yeah. And their thought was, well, we're special. Yeah. And even though we know that you can't issue court orders without the enforcement of the requirements of the law, I want to give you an example of how this really looks. Yes. Let's say a woman left the island of Guam with my five sons. Yes. And within 5 days of arriving in Clallam County, ran into the court and said, my husband's crazy. Yeah. And he's been arrested. Well, the court says, oh my gosh, we better issue a protection order so that if your husband gets out of jail, yes, 13,000 miles away, yeah, we know that we can arrest him, yes, for any allegation of domestic violence or child abuse. Now, the court said that in their discretion, right, in the way that they were looking at things, being completely impartial, their first priority was the protection of the woman and her children. Yes, that's what they're thinking. Yep. Domestic violence laws, they take these laws very, very seriously, and the thought that a man was arrested, yes, 13,000 miles away, on the United States territory of Guam gave the court the right to be completely impartial in the issuance of a court order. Now, you could possibly issue an ex parte temporary protection order, yes, based upon an arrest that took place 5 days before then, yes, while on Guam, while the individual's in jail. Or is there some partiality? Yeah. The judges are not selected primarily because of their political views, but on merit. Yeah. Now, second, judicial decisions once rendered are respected. Mhm. Either the parties to the case must comply voluntarily with the decision, or those with the power to coerce compliance, yeah, must be willing to use this power if compliance is not forthcoming. Yes. While this aspect is not inherent in judicial independence per se, it is often assumed implicitly. Now, I'll give you an example again. A woman, yes, runs into court 5 days after leaving the United States territory of Guam. Gives to the judge the arrest of her husband on July 2nd of 2011. The arrest didn't take place in Washington State. No. She says my husband's crazy, and he beat the crap out of me, and he called me the C word, and I'm fearful for my life that he's going to kill me and the kids. Yes. The judge immediately issues the temporary, yes, ex parte protection order. She returns 2 weeks later, finds out that her husband got out of jail. Yes. He's waiting to go to court for the rest of his life. Turns out the husband didn't commit any domestic violence or child abuse. Mm-mm. He does a drug and alcohol evaluation, never did any drugs or alcohol for the full 10 years of their marriage. Yes. Didn't have any alcohol in the house. No. Mm-mm. Never had any alcohol in their personal residence from the time that they were married. Mm-hmm. No history of drug or alcoholism. Well, he's alcoholic, but he's been sober for 20 years. Since he's 22 years old. Yes. The judge says, oh my gosh! We'll just have to reissue that temporary protection order even though he's out of jail. Yes. The individual finds a place to live in a shipping container. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Runs back into court 14 days later talking to the prosecuting attorney on Guam. He's going to prison for the rest of his life. Turns out they offer him diversion. He does one of these evaluations about what really took place. Yeah. Actually didn't commit any crime at all. The court is requested to allow for 7 hours of parenting classes with a focus on those that are under the age of 12, considering the age of his children. Yes. He does the 7 hours of parenting classes. Poop. Goes back to court after approximately 5 to 6 months. Yeah. They allow for him to leave the island on personal recognizance because he has no criminal court history. Yes. He'd never been arrested. All he had was a traffic citation in 1991. Is that right? Mm-mm. But she keeps saying, I'm afraid for my life that he's going to kill me. Judge keeps issuing it. Keeps issuing it. Never enforcing the responders. And then what happened? The judge took it upon himself to issue a protection order without her. No!